And welcome back to another episode of The Conversation. I'm New Barretto. The Conversation, throughout this whole summer, we visited different places. We went on remote to some different excellent events in the city. And also we had a chance to talk to different candidates in the city, different mayoral candidates. Primaries are over, and it's time to really focus on what's going on in November. So I think it's really important to kind of clarify some different things, so maybe some things that people have been confused about, particularly really in the community as a whole. But I brought two great guests, two leaders of the community, to kind of really clarify some different things to the respective Cape Verdean and Haitian community. First and foremost, we have a chairwoman of Haitian Community Partners, Marlene Amadi. Marlene, thank you so much for being on to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Nuvi, for inviting me, and I'm glad to hear so we can clarify and educate the community about a few things that will happening this coming November.
And also we have the president of Cape Verdean Women United, Tina Cardoza. Tina, thanks for everything that you both do, and thanks to the other things that you do for the community. So appreciate coming on to the podcast.
Thank you, Nubi, for having me. It's wonderful to be here with you and Madame Amadi. I love her. She's awesome. And I think we're going to really be able to shed some light on some voter information here with you. Yeah, so one thing I think we should clarify is that, there's a city council race in different wards, and there's also an at-large race as well as school committee. And I think a lot of times there's confusion about, how many people can vote for in terms of city council at large, who's your ward councilor. And I just think it's very important that we kind of clarify that to the respective communities. For number one, we can get a huge turnout in November, no matter, who you support, that your voice is heard. And I think it's very important to kind of clarify that. So what I'd like you to do is kind of, talk about in your native language about the difference between these city councilor and council at large, and what does the Cape Verdean community need to know about when they go into the polls in November? So first, I'd like to say it in English a little bit, because even our American friends are a bit confused.
Absolutely.
So, as you know, Marlene, I'm sure you get this a lot with the ward council and in at-large councils. I had to even educate myself when I first started getting involved in politics about that. Definitely. So we have 7 wards, right?
We have 7 wards in Brockton. Yeah.
And then we have 4 at-large councilors. So if you live in a ward 1 through 7, you can vote for your ward person. And on top of that, you can vote for one of the 4 at large. Well, you can vote up to 4. Yes. So for example, this November, we have 8 people
on the ballot.
So you can go up to 4. Now, if you only like 1 or 2 or 3, that's fine.
Right, just vote for 1 or 2 or 3.
Right.
But again, the rule of the thumb is you have to vote for 4.
Yeah, no more than 4.
No more than 4. So if you vote for more than 4, your ballot is no longer...
It's not valid.
It's not valid.
Yeah.
So that's what people need to understand.
Right. So because there was a lot of misinformation in the primary, and a lot of people who didn't understand that would go in and just pick one person. There was 15 people and they would pick one. Now, mind you, 15's a lot. So people got confused.
Yeah.
But now we have 8, so people can pick on every ballot. Every ward's going to have the same 8 people. Okay.
For at large.
Yes. So you can pick up to 4. Now the difference is the councilors in the ward, each ward's going to look different. So Ward 1 will only have the Ward 1 candidates, right? And then Ward 2 will have the Ward 2, like that. Ward 3 would have the Ward 3. So the names are going to be different depending on what ward you live in.
Yes.
Okay. And then you have the mayor, which you can pick only 1. You have 2 candidates and you pick 1. And then you have the school committee. And the school committee, I believe, is the same thing. There will be 2 candidates if it's opposed in your ward. Some wards are not.
Some wards are not.
And the school committee is similar to city council in terms of there's 7. There's 7, so different ballots may look a little different if I'm living in one particular neighborhood as opposed to another.
Yes. Right. So you get to some school committee. Some wards will only have 1 person there because they're running unopposed, and then some will have opposition. That means 2 people will be there for school committee. So then you pick 1. You know, so just to recap, most ballots will look like this. It'll have the mayor first, and you pick one. There'll be 2 names, and then it'll have, typically the at-large candidates will be 8 candidates, and you pick 4, up to 4. When I say up to 4, I mean if you don't know all of them and you know 1 or 2 or 3 that you like and you want to vote for, that's okay as long as you don't pass 4. Because if you choose 5, then it's not valid.
No.
And then you'll have your ward person. And if your ward person doesn't have competition, you only have that one, so you could pick that one. But if your ward person has a competitor, then it'll be two folks on there in November and you pick one. So that's typically what the ballot will look like. So people at home who speak English and have folks that don't speak English and want to educate them a little bit, that's how they would do it, and make sure they fill in that bubble.
That bubble, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people cross.
If you cross, that's your ballot. It doesn't. It's not a good ballot. It's not valid.
Yeah. So you want to make sure you fill in the bubble completely with the marker. So that's typically like what some of the issues around voting, because it can be confusing.
And also sometimes when people doesn't speak English, they go to the person to vote. They have difficulty to understand the ballot. So if they don't speak or if they don't read, so they might have difficulty understand the ballot. So they have the right to ask for someone to come and help them. That people need to understand that this is your right. So I just want to stress that out with people. So this is your right to ask for help in your native language for someone to help you. Right. So if they don't have someone in sight, they can call the Bureau of the Election Bureau, so to send someone that can help you with your native language. Right. Or so sometimes you just find different so some candidate will send people around so to the person to help, so therefore you can have someone there as well helping you to understand the ballot and read the name for you. So that we should not let language stop us from voting. From
voting, absolutely.
Yes.
And then also with Cape Verdean Women United, and I'm sure HCP, that's what we're here for. We do a lot to help mobilize people in the community and educate people in the community. So we're happy to pass on that information. If people want to call us, if they need help, send somebody out to help. So we can give that, our phone numbers or what have you, at the end if people need help. But I think during the primary there was a lot of issues around that, Marlene, around language. And
language barrier was a big thing.
Yeah, and not having people at the polls that are able to help. So we need to do better as a city, because we are a diverse city. So we 100%. Definitely need to, the city needs to invest in that a little bit too.
And that's one thing that I'm going to stress out. The people that are running for the for position in Brockton, they need to understand this is a diverse city. So if you are a candidate, you have to have some Haitian on your staff. You have to have some Cape Verdean. You have to have some Spanish on your staff to help you with those dilemmas when they occur. So you can have someone there to help you navigate the system. So they can make an intelligent decision and vote for whoever they want to vote. So I hope people that listening to that podcast understand that if I am a candidate, I need to have people that speak different languages in my crowd.
Absolutely. And we need to do more of this, Nubi. So thank you for having us, because education is so important. Like I said, we're well-educated people sitting here, and it's still confusing for us.
Absolutely.
You know, so imagine people who don't speak the language or read or write. It's not easy.